Hi, today I'm going to do a bronzy look on myself, and I'm obviously quite pale and have quite a lot of pink undertone in my skin as well as yellow undertone, but it's not sort of naturally very bronzy, and I don't tend to use fake tan either. Because I'm going to do my face quite tan today, I need to make sure that the rest of my body is going to match. You can't just suddenly be pale and then buy bronzer and put it all over your face and neck and think you're done. Especially if you're not, if you're wearing something that you can see your legs and your arms and your back and your chest. It all has to blend in, and I think that's something that makeup artists are always really aware of. So the first thing I've had to do is I've used a wash off tan on my body. I've used this one, which is Saint Tropez, and it's just instant glow, so you put it all over, it's a mousse, and it just sets and dries, but then at the end of the day you shower it off and it's gone. So that's the sort of thing that I'm more likely to use myself when I want to look tanned. So I need to get my face looking a couple of shades darker than it is as a base, which is going to look quite shocking when it first goes on, but it's all going to be blended out, and eventually everything's going to sort of blend in with the rest of my body. Now you can use a mousse or a tanning gel, like for example this Saint Tropez one I've used on my body. They do a facial version of that, and most brands do bronzing gels. Now they're very sort of sheer, they just change the colour of your skin without giving you any coverage. I'm actually going to use one of the Dior Hydra Life today. These are kind of tinted moisturisers. They come in 3 shades, 1, 2 and 3, and I've used them quite a bit on bronzing stories for magazines, and I just think they do give you that bronze look, but also there's a little bit of coverage, which I definitely need. I had a late night last night and I definitely need it today. So I would normally use, if I was just going to be matching up to my normal skin tone, I'd use number 1. So I'm going to use number 2. I'm also going to use a sponge. I'm going to apply it with just a rounded sponge, and I'm just going to start blending that in all over. I'm using a sponge because I want to do my neck, which is tricky when you're using your fingers, and also because I want a really thin layer all over, and I find that when you use sponges, a lot of the product is absorbed into the sponge, so you tend to get a lot less onto the skin. I tend to like to use whatever I've used on my face, on my neck. So now I'm just putting some concealer on. I've had to use a darker concealer than I normally would. I've used Double Wear, and I've used number 3, I think it is, yeah. No, sorry, number 2, which is the medium. So it's darker than what I would normally use. And if you're going to conceal your skin or do any touch-ups, everything's going to need to be dark. You can't use your normal concealer because it's not going to match your skin now. If you are pale and you're taking yourself quite a bit darker, you can't just sort of bronze at one area. It's like everywhere, your ears, the backs of your ears, everything. Make sure as well as you go into the hairline, you can always turn the sponge around and use a clean side just to really thin it out around the edges, or any areas where you think you've got too much. You can just sort of around the eyebrows, for example. Just take a clean sponge over and just take a layer off. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is powder, which I desperately need because, as I say, I'm really oily. I didn't use a moisturiser underneath this because I don't need to. One moisturiser is more than enough for me. So I'm just going to brush all over with a powder, and this is just MAC powder in medium, which again is probably a shade darker than I would normally. I'd be a light. I'm going to take it all over just because I've got really greasy skin and it's extremely hot weather here at the moment. Okay, so that's my newly bronzed skin. I'm now going to start to build up in certain areas. I'm going to use a powder bronzer now, and this is the Collagen Active Dior Bronze. I love this one because it has, again, it's got a little bit of coverage in it, so it's sort of quite beautifying at the same time as giving you the colour. I'm going to use a MAC 109 brush, and I'm going to apply it to begin with as a bit of a shaper, a bit of a contour, not too much. I just think the thing when you sort of got a bronze skin and you're starting to work with bronze powder, it's very easy to make your face look very flat, especially if you use a very big bronzing brush. You can end up sort of going all over, and the sort of shape of your face is completely lost under this sort of cloud of bronze. Using a slightly bigger brush, Just going to soften off the edges of that, come up onto the temples a little bit, myself a bit of a colour, touch down the centre of the nose, not too much but just enough to sort of give that slightly bronzed appearance. And then using a 217, I'm just going to use the same bronzing powder. This is matte, the Collagen Active Deal one, so nowhere is too shimmery. I'm just going to use that to slightly contour just in there. You can use a darker one if you need to. I'll tell you which palette's brilliant for that is the oh, I just had it, yeah, the Guerlain one, which is you buy it in your hair. This is brunette. It's got 4 shades of matte bronze. This one's brilliant for contouring the cheeks, and then you can use a slightly darker one into the socket line if you want a bit more depth. I think it should all be matte at this stage because we're really just thinking about giving ourselves that sort of all over bronze look. You can also use a touch of bronzer just underneath, along the lash line as well. Just gives a bit more shape. Now, just to give my eyes a bit more pop, I'm going to use a Bobbi Brown Chocolate Shimmer Gel Liner, and I'm just going to put that along the waterline. So now I'm going to do my brows. I just want to give myself some nice full brows. I'm going to use some of the Suku eyebrow powders with a little Suku brush. Next I'm just going to do some mascara. I'm going to curl my lashes first. So next I'm just going to bring a bit more life to the face because I haven't done a very shimmery bronze thing here and it can start to look a little bit flat. So I'm going to use one of the new Topshop highlighters. This is a really nice goldy highlighter and I'm going to use it on the top of my cheekbones just to bring a little bit of life into this tan face, onto the brow bone, and also I'm just going to pop a little bit into the corner. I always find that when you're doing something that's very bronzy, it's quite nice, it's very flattering to have a little pop of blusher as well. I'm going to use quite a pinky one, a Bobbi Brown one, but whatever suits your skin tone. You can use something a bit warmer if you like. This is quite a blue pink, but just a little pop of pink just onto the apples of the cheeks really just kind of brings the face to life. So to finish off, for the lips, I think I want to choose one of these shades from one of my naturally lip palettes, and I think I'm going to go for this one here, which is a Giorgio Armani one. So it's nice and natural and tawny, but it also has quite a bit of shimmer in it, which I think we sort of need. And that's it. That is my bronzy face. I mean, it's very unusual to see me bronzed. It's not a look that I do very often. The main things to remember is that you can't just bronze up your face and one bit of you if you're wearing a short dress or you're exposing your arms. You need to think about everything. You can't have a backless dress with a white back and turn around and the face is 5 shades darker. Obviously your face can be a slightly different colour to your body. You either have to put something on your body the night before or you have to use something that's going to match up. I mean, the darker you are naturally, the easier it is. And the other thing is just to watch the shimmer levels. I mean, it's lovely to have either a liquid highlighter or I used a powder highlighter at the end to sort of highlight and emphasise the tan, but if the fake tan you're using or the gel is already shimmery and you're using highlighter and you're using sort of shimmery bronzing powders as well, it can all get incredibly shiny and very glittery, which is a look, but it doesn't necessarily make you look naturally tanned. So a little bit of shimmer is great, but just don't go overboard. And yeah, you have to build it up. If you're as pale as I am, then yes, it is a bit of a process. I hope that was helpful, and thank you for watching.